What if I told you that your favorite horror monster is just a misunderstood puppy with bad PR? That the real villain is hiding in plain sight, wearing a human face? Hollywood has been lying to you for decades. These 13 films flipped the script. They made you root for the beast. They made the so-called monster the victim. Number 11. The Others, 2001. What if the monster was you the whole time? Grace Stewart lives in a dark Jersey mansion after World War II. Her children are allergic to sunlight. She keeps curtains drawn. She hires 3 servants who appear from nowhere. And then the terror begins. Footsteps, doors opening, a face in the photograph. Grace screams at ghosts. She accuses them of haunting her children. She sleeps with a shotgun. But here's the nuclear truth bomb. Grace is dead. Her children are dead. She smothered them with a pillow, then shot herself. The monsters she fights are the living family who bought her house. They are the ones trying to move furniture. They are the ones whispering in hallways. Grace is the intruder. She is the poltergeist. The real villain of the story is grief. Grief so powerful that it refuses to acknowledge death. The living family leaves at the end. Grace and her kids stay, forever. The movie doesn't punish her. It just lets her exist in her own tragic loop. So who is the monster? The dead woman protecting her territory, or the live family just trying to sleep? Nobody wins. But the ghosts were never the problem. They were the prisoners. Number 10. Nightbreed, 1990. Clive Barker again. Because the man loves misunderstood freaks. Boone is a troubled man framed for murder. His psychiatrist, Dr. Decker, is the real serial killer. But the movie doesn't care about that at first. Boone runs to a hidden city called Midian, a graveyard town filled with monsters, creatures with stitched faces, burrowing mouths, tentacle arms. They look like hell vomited a circus, and the audience is supposed to be terrified. But Barker flips everything. The monsters of Midian are refugees. They hide from humanity. They have laws. They have families. They have a god who protects them. Dr. Decker hunts them. The townspeople hunt them. The police hunt them. Boone becomes their champion. He dies. He gets resurrected as one of them. And in the final battle, the monsters fight back. They kill bigots. They kill cops. They kill anyone who invaded their home. The movie ends with Midian destroyed, but the survivors escaping. Nightbreed asks a dangerous question. What if every monster movie you ever loved was propaganda? What if the Wolfman just wanted a cave? What if Frankenstein just wanted a friend? The real horror is humanity's refusal to share the dark. Nightbreed's monsters never started the war, they just finished it. Number 9. The Mist, 2007. Frank Darabont hates happy endings, and he hates easy villains. A mist rolls over a small town. It carries creatures, tentacles, giant insects, prehistoric claws. People die in grocery stores. Blood splashes on canned goods. And everyone screams, "Kill the monsters outside!" But watch closer. The real evil is inside the supermarket. Mrs. Carmody, a religious fanatic, starts a cult. She demands human sacrifice. She points fingers at soldiers. She whips the crowd into a frenzy. The creatures outside are just animals. They hunt. They eat. They have no malice. A spider doesn't hate you. A pterodactyl doesn't judge you. But Mrs. Carmody, she loves judgment. She gets a young man gutted. She nearly throws a child to the beasts. The protagonist, David, finally shoots her. Not because of monsters, because of people. Then comes the gut punch ending. David kills his own son to prevent a worse death. Seconds later, the military arrives. The mist clears. The monsters retreat. David's mercy killing was pointless. The creatures were never the apocalypse. They were just a weather pattern. The real monster was hopelessness, and it lived inside every human heart in that store. Number 8. 13 Ghosts, 2001. Dark Castle Entertainment gave us a gimmick, a glass house, a demonic machine, 12 ghosts trapped in a basement. Each ghost has a backstory: the Juggernaut, the Torn Prince, the Angry Princess. They look terrifying. One has a cage around her head, another has a broken neck, a third has hooks in her flesh. You spend the whole movie waiting for them to attack. But they never do, not really. The ghosts are slaves. The villain is Cyrus Kritikos. He built the machine. He murdered most of these ghosts when they were alive. The angry princess was a model driven to suicide by abuse. The hammer was a blacksmith killed by his own greed. The great child was a murdered boy. Every ghost is a victim. They only attack because the machine forces them. One ghost, named Jean, actually protects the living family. She was Cyrus's wife. She died in a fire. She spends the whole movie pushing people out of danger. The final act reveals the truth. The ghosts aren't the threat. The machine is. The living family shuts it down. The ghosts ascend to heaven. They smile. They wave. That's not a villain's ending. That's a rescue. 13 Ghosts tricks you into fearing the dead. But the dead were just asking for peace. The living monster was the collector. Number 7. The Toxic Avenger, 1984. Trauma Entertainment. Buckle up. Melvin is a mop boy at a New Jersey health club. He gets bullied constantly. Then, a prank goes wrong. He falls into a vat of toxic waste. His face melts. His bones rearrange. He becomes the Toxic Avenger, a 7-foot lump of radioactive rage. And he starts killing. He snaps arms. He crushes skulls. He shoves a mop handle through a biker's chest. The movie calls him a monster. But watch who he kills. Rapists, corrupt politicians, a hit-and-run driver who murdered a child. Toxie never attacks innocent people. He saves a blind woman from assault. He rescues kids from a burning building. He becomes the mayor of Tromaville. The real villains are the bullies, the businessmen dumping waste, the cops who look away. Toxie is a working-class hero with a disfigured face. The movie is satire, but the message is real. We call anyone ugly a monster, but ugly people can be saints. Toxie loves his blind girlfriend. He reads her poetry. He cries when he hurts someone by accident. That's not a villain. That's a superhero who forgot to shower. The Toxic Avenger proves one thing. The only monster in New Jersey is the one wearing a suit and tie. Number 6. The People Under the Stairs, 1991. Ready for a wild one? The monsters in this movie live inside walls. They eat scraps. They whisper in the dark. And they are children. Sliced tongues, burned faces, locked away by 2 psychotic landlords who call themselves Mommy and Daddy. Wes Craven did something genius here. He made you terrified of a boy named Fool. Then he revealed the truth. Those pale, crawling creatures under the stairs were never the predators. They were victims. They were kidnapped kids, mutilated by a couple who wanted a perfect suburban kingdom. The real horror is the landlords. They own guns. They own a dungeon. They own a son named Roach who wears a gimp suit. The understair people attack Fool at first, because they don't know he's an ally. Once they understand, they help him escape. They sacrifice themselves. One girl named Alice literally blows up the house to stop Mommy and Daddy. That's not monstrous. That's revolutionary. The movie ends with Fool taking the surviving children into the sunlight. The so-called monsters finally get to be kids again. So, who's the villain? The couple with the deed. The system that let them kidnap for years. The understair people were just trying to survive. You would too. Number 5. Oddity, 2024. The newest film on this list. And it's already a cult classic. A blind woman named Darcy uses cursed objects to investigate her twin sister's murder. One object is a wooden mannequin, a life-sized creepy doll with button eyes. Every horror rule says this doll is evil. It will move at night. It will stab someone. But Oddity refuses that script. The mannequin is a guardian. It protects Darcy. It absorbs violence. It stands watch while she sleeps. The real monster is a doctor named Ted. He killed Darcy's sister. He gaslit the police. He dates the victim's best friend. The wooden mannequin eventually kills Ted. But not with malice, with mechanical patience. It waits. It watches. It strikes exactly when he confesses. The doll is justice made of pine and paint. The audience expects jump scares from the mannequin. We get 0. We get a slow, unblinking stare that says, "I am here to help." Oddity flips possession tropes. Usually haunted objects are villains. Here the object is a therapy tool. The villain is a handsome, charming doctor. The monster has a medical degree. The wooden face has a heart. You will leave Oddity terrified of living men, not wooden women. That's the twist. That's the revolution. Number 4. The Shining, 1980. Stanley Kubrick made you hate Jack Torrance. But Jack Torrance is not the monster. The Overlook Hotel is. Jack arrives as a struggling writer. He has anger issues. He has a failed career. He is not a good father. But he is also not a demon. The hotel feeds on his weaknesses. It shows him ghosts. It gives him a drink at an empty bar. It sends a naked woman who turns into a corpse. The hotel wants a new caretaker, a new soul to add to its collection. Jack becomes the hotel's puppet. He says, "Here's Johnny," because the hotel wants him to. He chases Danny with an axe because the hotel wants a blood sacrifice. The real monster is the building. It murdered the previous caretaker. It murdered the Grady twins. It will outlive everyone. Jack dies in the snow. His face appears in a 1921 photograph. He was never the villain. He was the latest victim. The hotel is the serial killer. Jack is just the knife. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You would also become a monster if a haunted mansion whispered in your ear for 5 months. The Shining is not about an evil dad. It's about an evil real estate location. The monster never checked in. The monster owned the building. Number 3. What Lies Beneath, 2000. Robert Zemeckis made a ghost story for people who hate ghost stories. Claire Spencer sees a face in the water, a hand on her shoulder, a reflection that isn't hers. She thinks her house is haunted by a murdered college student named Madison. Every horror beat says the ghost is vengeful. It will drown Claire. It will possess her husband. But the movie reveals a darker truth. Madison's ghost is not the villain. Claire's husband, Norman, is. Norman murdered Madison. He dumped her body in the lake. Then he tried to gaslight Claire into insanity. Madison's ghost does attack, but she attacks Norman. She drags him into the bathtub. She drowns him the same way he drowned her. Claire escapes. The ghost disappears. The haunting was never random. It was a cry for help. Madison needed a living person to witness the truth. She chose Claire because Claire was strong enough to fight back. The real monster is the charming doctor husband. The ghost is an evidence locker. What Lies Beneath tricks you into fearing the supernatural. But the supernatural was the only honest character in the story. Dead women don't kill for fun. They kill for justice. And sometimes justice looks like a wet hand on your throat. Number 2. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, 2010. Okay, stop. Rewind. You know that feeling when a horror movie gaslights you for 90 minutes? This one does it perfectly. Tucker and Dale are 2 hillbillies. They have overalls. They have a fishing trip. They have a rundown cabin. And they have 0 kills. 0. The movie shows a group of college kids dying in the most ridiculous ways possible. One jumps into a wood chipper. Another impales himself on a branch. A third sets himself on fire. And every single death is an accident. But the kids keep screaming, "Murderous hillbillies!" The real monster is hysteria. It's prejudice. It's the assumption that ugly teeth and dirty hands mean evil heart. Tucker and Dale save lives. They pull a girl from drowning. They try to help a kid with a bee sting. They end up covered in blood that isn't theirs. The final act reveals the actual villain, a deranged survivor from a previous massacre who kills for fun. Tucker and Dale defeat him by accident, again. This movie is a masterclass in misdirection. The monster was never the backwoods freak. The monster was your own judgmental brain. And that's the scariest twist of all. Number 1. An American Werewolf in London, 1981. Let's kick off with a brutal confession. You've been pitying the wrong character. David Kessler doesn't tear through London because he loves chaos. He does it because a demonic wolf creature bit him on a foggy moors. No cure, no off switch, just a full moon and a stomach full of regret. The movie makes you gasp at the transformation scene. the bones cracking, the snout pushing out. But here's the twist. David is the most tragic figure in horror history. His monster form kills strangers. His human form begs for death. The real villains are the undead victims who haunt him. They demand suicide as atonement. They never offer help. They offer guilt. The werewolf curse turns an innocent American tourist into a slaughter machine. He doesn't choose this life. This life chooses him. And when he finally dies in a London alley, his last human look screams, "I never wanted this." The wolf was a weapon. The curse was the criminal. David was just a passenger in his own exploding body. That's not villainy. That's a nightmare with teeth. So next time you see a clawed hand or a ghostly face, don't scream. Ask who the real villain is. Horror's greatest trick was making you fear the victim. These 13 movies broke that spell. The monster wasn't the problem. The monster was the only one telling the truth.